Hi, professional yapper at your service. Hi. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done this kind of like sit down video. Um, I don't know. I just haven't really had much going on that wasn't like, I'll take you on a vlog. And it's been a lot of like getting rejected from places. Life has been busy, but this is one of the things I've been busy with. I completed Couch to 5k. I'm literally in running gear. I'm supposed to be going on a run, but my earphones are out of battery. So whilst they charge, I film. Over the past 10 weeks now, we'll talk about it. I completed the NHS Couch to 5k with Sarah Milligan as the one speaking for me. That was kind of the reason why I started Couch to 5k, or the reason why I knew about Couch to 5k. Let's take you back 9 weeks. So early January, I guess, is when I started, because I was at an audition in Dublin. Surprise, surprise. And I was at a dance audition for a Disney cruise, which really highlighted to me how unfit I had become. Like, I was like almost close to fainting after doing the dances, whereas there were so many dancers there who were barely breaking a sweat. Like, they were giving it their all, but they're trained bodies. And so I kind of decided off the back of that my fitness levels were not what they used to be or really ever have been. If I want to be a part of this industry, I need to be at least physically fit and able to do this stuff. You know, like, I don't necessarily care about like having abs or being shredded. That's not who I am. But I need to keep up with other people in my industry, because if I'm passing out whilst they're doing it with barely breaking a sweat, and they have to do that once or twice a day, who are they going to go for? I know who I would go for if I was the casting agent. So I started running, and I'll be honest, I thought of Couch to 5k because Sarah Millican is a comedy icon for me. I love her so much. I have purchased every single one of her specials that you can purchase, and then watched the other ones on YouTube. I've watched her entire like live show recordings because she just has that sense of humor. And so knowing that she was the voice for Couch to 5k, and I love her voice, it's like that warm Northern England like accent, and it's jolly, it's happy. I thought, I'll give this a go. If I hate it, I hate it. Spoiler alert, I didn't hate it nearly as much as I thought I would. Week 1, you do 8 minutes, not consecutive running. So I think it's a minute on and 2 minutes walking for 8 of those, I think. With 5 minutes warm up and 5 minutes cool down at the end. And, you know, it felt difficult, but not, it felt challenging, but not difficult, I think is the best way to say it, in that I was definitely challenging myself, but it didn't feel outside of the realm of possibility, considering I've never run before. Never. I've barely done sports before. And so I did that, and I had already been walking 7.5 miles every day. And so an added benefit of this was eventually I would be able to like run one way and run back, because it was 3.7 miles each way. And so I did the first run, and then I walked to the end, and I was kind of recovered by that point. And so I just decided to do it again. I'm an overachiever, sue me. And so that kind of set the tone for me, as I always did the couch to 5K twice in a day. So week one was really easy. I ended up just running when I felt like it. I remember going to the pub and eating dinner there, having a drink, and then going for a run after. I'd already done my runs for the day, or maybe it was in between days. I just had an extra run in somewhere. So yeah, like at that stage, it was very much a this is a fun thing. Like I'm not very good at it, but it's fun. However, one thing that if you're ever wanting to do this, buy running shoes or at least trainers for the first couple of weeks. Um, I was wearing dress shoes. And my thinking of this was um, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it. I had absolutely no idea on if this was going to be a thing for me or if I was going to give up in week 3 or 4, because I have done that in the past. And so I was wearing dress shoes until I think about week 3. I ordered some, and yet never do that. I uh got Achilles tendonitis, and I really had to like push back and take rest days. I remember there was a day that I was in the middle of a run and the pain was so excruciating that I had to stop the run, sit for 15 minutes in the rain, in the cold, and literally just like rub out my Achilles tendon. Um, that was not a good day. But I bought running shoes from like week 3 onwards, and it was a lot easier. Another tip I have is compression socks. I'm currently wearing a pair because I'm sore again, but that was working too hard in the gym. Um, yeah, I got some compression socks after that because it's supposed to help with your Achilles tendonitis. And if I'm ever like feeling pain, it really helps to just wear them. They're a little bit looser now. I really should invest in a new pair, but that's for another day. So yeah, the first couple of weeks were challenging, but not difficult. It wasn't really until I got to about 8 minutes running, which I think is week 4, 8 minutes running like constantly, that things took a step up and they felt a little more difficult. But that's what this program really excels at. Um, One thing that I love about Couch to 5K is that the progression feels difficult but not terrible. And it actually, like, weeks 4 to 6, I would say are the most difficult. And then it kind of 7, 8, and 9 is 25 minutes running, 28 minutes running, and then your last week is 30 minutes running. So you're only adding a couple of minutes on each week. Whereas you're starting week 1 on 8 minutes non-consecutive. So there's I think 4 to 6 are like big jumps that are doable. I was really proud of myself when I did them. And then towards the end, it was more of a let's just build up some endurance. So by the end, you're feeling confident and comfortable. And then even towards the last week, there was a little bit of like a if you want to speed up, you can speed up. So they're really trying to like build that up. And yeah, weeks 1 to 3, I was really loving myself. I was probably at my peak a little bit because I had so much energy. And then I started adding in swimming to this, swimming to my routine. And then the past couple of weeks, I've just joined a gym. So like, I'm really using my energy in different ways. And I think that running, I have a lot more energy now that I run. I mean, it would have been like a big thing for me to go and like clean my room for the week. Like, I would have had like a big reset day. Whereas I woke up this morning and just did it in like 20 minutes and it was done, and now I'm gonna go on a run. I hope. I've hurt myself. We'll get into it. So yeah, weeks 4 to 6, I really noticed the step up, but it was the step up that when you'd done it and when you succeeded, you felt really good about yourself, which is brilliant. Like, I don't know, there was never a run where I felt bad about myself or like I couldn't have like, yes, I could have pushed myself a bit more in some of them, but none of them felt like I wasn't giving it effort and energy. And I was proud of myself after every run. And then weeks 7 to 9, I knew I was getting towards the end of the course and I was getting slightly nervous that I would give it up. And I haven't. As I said, it's 25 minutes consecutive run and then 28 minutes in week 8 and 30 minutes for your final week. And that to me was one of the best couple of weeks of my life, because I did the final run running to a different route. I did the same route every single time, without fail. Sometimes the second run would be different, but the first run was always the same route. And I could see the progress. Like, I was getting further and further and further. And then my final run, I changed it up and ran to a different town and then did a running club. And there was something so special about that last run. And I posted every time I ran on my Instagram stories and my Snapchat stories most of the time. Because I pushed myself to do it. I don't really take a lot of selfies, which is bizarre because I like filming myself. But I don't really like taking selfies. I never really felt confident enough to do that. And so I forced myself to take a selfie every week, every run, so 3 times a week, and post it alongside like week 1, run 3. And I'm a lot more comfortable with myself now. I took some selfies on the Dublin trips, just because, like, I don't know, I wanted to. And I don't know, the running has given me confidence in my fitness levels. Yes, it was an extra step to take a photo of myself, but that also really gave me a lot of confidence because, and I think the running helped that because I knew that I had done exercise. I wasn't just lying on my arse all day. And so yeah, that really kind of like helped with my body dysmorphia in a way. So yeah, I completed the final run and I posted a big thing on my Instagram stories, and the support. That's one thing that I will say, that if you ever want to do this, I recommend posting, because I got support from the unlikeliest of people. People who I knew would like it, of course, but also like some unlikely friends, I guess. And it just made me feel like I could keep going. But yeah, I finished it and I felt really good, but I was really nervous about what would happen next. And there's a graduate program where today's run, the first run, is 35 minutes, but you start off running quite slow and then get to your normal pace and then speed up at the end. This is my favourite run of the week, by far. I like the varying pace, I like starting off slower, and I really like speeding up at the end. I know that some people do not, some people hate that, but I like that little burst of energy at the end. It just reminds me that I still can push myself. The second run is the worst run I've ever done. I hate it, but hate it in a love way. Which is your speed run, which is 1 minute running, 1 minute, like 1 minute fast run, 1 minute slow run. And I feel like I'm such a bad runner when I do this because it's tough. I'm always out of breath. I never get as far as I usually do on regular runs. But it's a necessary evil, and I can't say I hate it. It's one of those things where if anyone asks me ever, I will tell them I hate running. But I don't think I do anymore. I think that was an old version of me that absolutely hated the idea of exercise, and now I'm walking everywhere. I walk at least, well, I get at least 20,000 steps a day. I'll have the odd day where I'll do like 5,000 rest days when like I'm exhausted, but that's it averages out to, I think last week was 22,000 a week, or 22,000 a day in the week. So it averages out quite well. And some of those are runs. I try and run every other day, but most of that's just walking. There have been days when I've done 40,000 steps, which is insane, but it's more just because I have the energy. And I never would have dreamed of doing 40,000 steps in the past. Like 10,000 felt like a lot, and now 10,000 is a disappointing amount. And a lot of that is thanks to running. It just feels like I'm able to do a lot more. Like, it used to be that I would get home from work and I would do nothing. I would lie in my bed and I would eat and eat and eat because it was boredom. Whereas even if I'm not running on a day, like yesterday, I just went out with a friend, and it was a casual night out where we didn't drink or anything. We just went to supermarkets, but I had so much energy to do that. And we went out for dinner, and it just, like, it was that kind of plan that made me feel like, oh, okay, I have a lot more energy, because I would have been exhausted after, and I probably wouldn't have replied to the message. So yeah, that was my experience with Couch to 5K. I genuinely don't think I can recommend it enough. I feel like I'm more myself as a person after completing it. I feel more confident. I feel more energetic. I feel like, even I'm injured now because I pushed myself too hard in the gym. But it doesn't feel like, I'm sure I would have been really sore there, and it would have like been an excuse for and it would have been an excuse for me to be like, oh, I'm really sore, I just won't leave the house again, like I'll order a takeaway. Whereas now I'm going to attempt a run today. If I fail, I fail. I failed one singular run during Couch to 5K, and it was just because my body and my mind were telling me stop. I got about 7 minutes into the run and my body was just saying, no, you need to stop. And so I did, and I tried again the next day and I was much better. But yeah, that's the type of thing that, like, I'm listening to my body. So if my body tells me to stop a run today, I will stop, and I will just get some steps in walking, because that doesn't seem nearly as bad. But yeah, that was my experience. This probably wasn't the most informative video. I'm not even sure what I spoke about for 20 minutes here. But I spoke, and I'll edit and post this. So yeah, I think I've missed yous a little bit. Let's make this a habit. Toodle pips and noodle tips. Mwah.